Swinging a drive, right field and deep. Back goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone.
Fly the W!
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawly Jean.
This is the Fly the W podcast, another live edition as we start a new week together. Cubs with today off, but Crawly, we just went through an unbelievable 3-game set with the Diamondbacks. Records were set. You were not in attendance on this one. We're going to get to that in a minute, of course. Don't forget to download, don't forget to review, don't forget to subscribe, do all those things. Help us make the podcast just as successful as it can be. Don't forget you can follow me on Mully and Haw on X.
And you can follow me on Crawly's Cubs on X, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Crawly's Clubhouse on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And you can email us with any of your thoughts or ideas at crawlysclubhouse@gmail.com. Dustin, it kills me because I'm sitting at home Friday. I got the day off. And I'm trying to get some yard work done. And probably about 20 minutes before game time, I got a friend. He texts me. He says, "Yo, Crawly, I got some 1914 club tickets. Are you in the neighborhood?" And I'm like, oh man, by the time I get dressed and drive down there and and parking, all that crap, I'm like, it's gonna be like the 6th inning. Well, God bless it. That would have been the perfect inning to get there, right?
That would have been the perfect time to get there. My quick story was doing yard work, getting stuff done, headed out. Cubs are up. And the lead is evaporating quickly. And I'm in the car with my wife, and all of a sudden the game is tied. And she says, "I can't listen to this. I can't listen to it." Just hits the button, goes to FM music station. I drop her off at the back door. There was nowhere for me to park. I had to go around the building onto a different street. As soon as she got out of the car, I put it right back to the score, and off the Cubs went yet again. And then I walked in, and I'm like, "Are you watching this?" It was freaking believable Friday what happened. Unfreaking believable.
Well, Ian Happ kind of told everybody after the game exactly what they knew before the game even started. Here's what Ian had to say.
You know that there's going to be runs scored. It just keeping a team to one run in that environment is really, really tough. And so you knew it wasn't over. I think when we were up 2-1, you knew you had to score more runs to win that game, and we did a really good job of coming back and having really good at-bats there.
So, okay, the wind was 17 miles per hour straight out to center field. Their wind gusts up to 24, 25 miles per hour. But Dustin, I've gone to Wrigley Field. I can't even tell you, probably, I'd say over 1,000 times in my lifetime. I'm not kidding. And there's plenty of times where the wind's blowing out and everyone's saying, bet the over, and then they don't score any runs. Or other times it's the opposite, right? Wind's blowing in, everyone's bet the under, and then all of a sudden it's a massive, tons of runs scored. And so I kind of laughed because I saw the flags. I saw, my friends at Wrigley Wins, the app, they tell you what the game day wind conditions are. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God, everyone's yelling, bet the over. And I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be one of those games where no runs are scored. And Dustin, that's how it looked like, right? For most of the game.
2-1 going into the bottom of the 7th. I also was on the over, Crawly. I was on the over at 10. I bet it the day before. I bet it on the off day. But before the game started, just since we went down that road, you took us down that road, Crawly. It was 10.5.
Wow. That's unbelievable. And so
but going into the bottom of the 7th, it was 2-1.
Right. Colin Ray and Corbin Burns did a great job in very difficult conditions. Cubs struck first, bottom of the 2nd, 2 outs. PCA doubled. And I don't know who this guy is. Babe Ruth, Carson Kelly, same guy. He hits his 5th home run. Cubs are up 2-0, and it stayed that way to the top of the 5th. Gabriel Moreno led off with a double, but Ray got the next 2 outs. But Corbin Carroll, who we warned you he was hot, right? He singled to cut the lead, Cubs lead 2-1. D-backs loaded the bases, but Caleb Thielbar, it's not going to get a lot of play because of all the craziness that happened. He got Josh Naylor to ground out to end the threat. But Caleb Thielbar came in and pitched 2 real clutch innings. That was the second really good performance we've seen from Caleb Thielbar.
It was 2 in a row, and he has been probably on my short list of biggest disappointments as far as an off-season move that has not worked out at all so far.
Right. Seems like he's starting to find his groove. Bottom of the 7th, though, that's when the game changes, right? Bases loaded, 1 out. Ian Happ hits a grand slam. The Cubs are up 6-1. Justin Tucker followed up with a triple. He scores on a Michael Busch single. Cubs are up 7-1, and Wrigley is rocking. You could hear it through the radio. I'm listening, doing yard work in the radio, and I could just hear it. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I was there. And, everyone's kind of.
I cannot believe you weren't down there. I mean, and you had a chance to be in the high end
1914 club. Yeah. And so, it happens. You can't make them to all of them, but all of a sudden Jordan Wicks comes in to pitch. Jordan Wicks comes in and he just got called up replacing Luke Little. He gives up 3 straight singles. Porter Hodge Craig Counsell comes out and says, give me the righty. Porter Hodge comes in to face Eugenio Suarez. How many times do we talk about on the podcast? Don't pitch to that guy.
Don't pitch to that guy. Don't pitch to that guy. No.
Grand slam. The Cubs lead is 7-5. Porter gets the next out, but then he gives up a walk, a single, a wild pitch, gets a strikeout, a single, a double, a walk. Then Ethan Roberts replaces Hodge. He gives up a home run to Lourdes Gurriel. The Diamondbacks have an 11-7 lead before they record the final out of that inning. 10 runs in the top of the 8th. And Wrigley, you just heard the air sucked out of that stadium. The Diamondbacks did it before in Arizona in that 4th game when they scored all those runs in the 8th inning.
Right.
And I don't know if you saw that tweet from Arizona about, the 8th inning likes us coming. And they got a little chippy, a little too early on a windy day at Wrigley, I would say. Bottom of the 8th, Nico's hit by a pitch. PCA walks, and then Carson Kelly, home run number 2 of the day. The Cubs are down 11-10. Inning still going, 1 out. Ian Happ singles, and Kyle Tucker homers to put the Cubs up 12-11. How clutch was that home run by Kyle Tucker?
Yeah, I mean, the guy is just feeling it, right? I mean, the guy has gotten an RBI in almost every game he's played in as a Cub. And the clutch, it's not garbage time. It's not fat time. It's great.
It's not position player pitching.
He has definitely been a Batman.
Yes, sir. So the Cubs are up 13-1. Dustin, like I said, I was listening to the game on the radio, and then I had to run in, but I can tell you, Pat Hughes does the voices of the game. CD said he's done them for Harry Carey and Bob Uecker and Bob Costas and Harry Callis. He's done them for all, but he's too modest a guy to do it for himself. And we've had him on this podcast, and I've asked him about it. I will tell you that if there is a voices of the game that has highlights of Pat's illustrious Hall of Fame career, they better put this one in there because him and Ron Coomer absolutely killed it. And I have the audio from the final out, and listen to what Pat has to say.
Cubs lead 13-11, 2 down, 9th inning. Pop fly, shallow left. Swanson out. He's got it. And the Cubs win the ball game. Ryan Presley gets the save. The Cubs coming from behind with a 6-run rally in the bottom of the 8th inning. One of the wildest games that I've ever seen, but from a Cubs standpoint, it all turned out sweetly. Oh my.
Sweetly. He also called it. He said at one point as the Cubs made their comeback, he's like, all right, game on. He was almost talking trash. He was talking trash from the booth, I felt like. All right, game on.
Yeah, I felt like he was fired up. And for Pat Hughes to say one of the wildest games he's ever seen, what does that tell you? I mean,
it was a memorable one. I will remember that. They've already made a T-shirt. I already saw a T-shirt available for that game with the box score.
That's obvious shirts. Our guy Joe Johnson had it out probably 5 minutes after the game ended. And so,
well
Dustin,
done. Well done.
Let's take a look at the fun facts on this one. Sarah Lang from Slangs on Sports, such a great follow. 16 combined runs in the 8th were the most in an inning in Wrigley Field history. That ballpark's been there for over 110 years, 111 years, I think we're at right now. The most runs combined in an inning at Wrigley Field history. That's amazing.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
How about this? The Cubs are the 5th team in the last 125 years to score 6+ runs and allow 10+ runs in the same inning. I can't believe that there was, four other teams that did this. It seemed the most bizarre thing in the world. How about this one? The Cubs are the 7th team in the last 125 seasons to allow 10 runs in an inning and actually win the game. This is my favorite one right here. This is Opta Stats. In just the 7th and 8th innings at Wrigley today, there were 6 home runs, 2 grand slams, all 4 types of hits. Single, double, triple home run, all 4 types of home runs.
All 4 types, yep.
2-run, 3-run, grand slam, 3 half innings of 5+ runs. Never in MLB history has all of that happened in an entire game, let alone in 2 innings. This cracked me up. This is and Sarah Lang always puts this up here, win probability. You can watch this in a lot of the different sites like Fangraphs and stuff like that. It'll give you the win probability during the game. When you take a look and you get to the bottom of the 7th, it's like a 99% chance that the Cubs are going to win this game. Then it swings in the top of the 8th to a 99% chance that the Diamondbacks swing. And then it swings another 99% back to the Cubs. I have never in my life ever seen anything like that. That is just bizarre.
Yeah, it was a while. I think that might be my first obvious shirt I buy. I don't have an obvious shirt. I think I'm going to buy that obvious shirt. I really do. I think that's going to be my my baptism to obvious shirts.
Well, I will tell you, they are the most comfiest shirts, and Joe does such a great job, and he's such a helpful guy in the community. But the Cubs and Diamondbacks combined for 20 runs over 2 innings between the 7th and 8th. That tied the record for most runs scored over 2 consecutive innings. Last time it happened, September 4th, 1893, when the Cubs played on the West Side grounds. That's just insane game. I don't know if anyone will ever see another one like that again.
Yeah. Well, let's hope not, because boy, it was stressful.
Well, I went for game 2, and after scoring 24 combined runs in the first game, what would the D-backs and Cubs do in encore? First off, Dustin, the wind now is blowing in, and it's about 20 degrees colder. But the game starts out like the other game ended, right? The first batter of the game, Corbin Carroll absolutely crushes one 426 feet to put the D-backs up 1-0. Luckily, that lead would not last long, because in the bottom of the first, Ian Happ drew a walk. Kyle Tucker tripled to tie a game, and he would then score, and the Cubs would take a 2-1 lead. They would add 4 more in the second inning on a Kyle Tucker ground out, and then Seiya Suzuki and Michael Busch back-to-back jacks. Third time it's happened this season that the Cubs have hit back-to-back jacks. Just like that, the Cubs were up 6-1. Dustin, there was a combined 7 runs in the first 2 innings, and then neither team scored again until the 9th. How wacky was that?
Another wacky one. Another wacky one. How was the atmosphere that day, Crawly?
The atmosphere was phenomenal, and I almost got hit by the Michael Busch home run. My buddy he was trying to catch the ball in his beer. His beer cup cracks, and here's a picture right here. This kid right here, do you see him with his hands up? That's the one that got the ball. It went back. So my buddy in the green shirt right here, that's the beer he tried to catch it in. And then I'm right here. I'm kind of turned around because my buddy Greg Braggs had a knee brace. The ball went under his legs. So I was trying to be careful not to, destroy his leg because he got a knee injury. And this kid just kind of dove in and got the ball as it was ping-ponging around between us. It was unbelievable.
That's wild.
So close. But Dustin, after using 7 pitches out of the bullpen on Friday, the Cubs were hoping to get some innings out of Ben Brown. Ben did okay, but he had a ton of traffic on the bases. He was only able to go 4 innings. He gave up that leadoff home run and 2 other hits, but he walked 4, struck out 6, and hit a batter. So the Brown had to deal with 2 runners on base in each of his 4 innings, Dustin. Brown became the Cubs' first starter to toss at least 100 pitches in an outing this season, and that's a career high for him. So 4 innings, 100 pitches. Just he lucked out. The D-backs just couldn't push him in, and that helped the Cubs, to be honest.
A ton, right?
After the Michael Busch home run in the second, Gallen, I'm looking at Gallen. I'm like, man, his pitch count's like 50, 55 after like 2 innings. I'm like, this guy's going to be done in a hurry. But he sat down 13 of the next 14 batters he faced. The only other hit Gallen gave up after the second inning was a 2-out double to Dansby Swanson. The wild thing about the 6 runs that Gallen surrendered is you didn't expect it. When you and I were making our predictions, I was looking at the numbers. Zach had allowed only 1 run in 19 of his previous innings in his last 3 starts at Wrigley Field. The last time he gave up a run, May 19th, 2022 at Wrigley Field. And then gives up 6 in 2 innings.
Yeah.
Both bullpens did their job, but Caleb Thielbar again comes out again, pitches 2. I didn't think he'd come out but someone had to because they needed innings. He worked 2 perfect innings with 1 K. So this guy right here, Caleb, is really, really kind of finding his groove now. Brad Keller had 1 inning of work, and then Daniel Palencia pitched 2 innings. He gave up a solo home run with 2 outs in the top of the 9th, Dustin, but I didn't mind that because he was just going right at the zone. You know what I mean? He was attacking. He wasn't walking guys or doing dumb things, and that's the thing. Throw it down the middle. If they hit it out, they hit it out.
Right.
You got a 5-run lead at that point.
You got a lead, right? Work the strike zone, no doubt. That's how you got to approach it. That's the only way to do it.
Now, Dustin, I watched this, and I don't know if you saw this on Saturday. 4th inning, what's his name? McCarthy is up to bat, and he hits one to left center, and I saw it again, the PCA Hap collision. Like they literally just brushed against each other, and they talked to each other after it, but I don't understand why that keeps happening. Too many.
But I think that, and here's the thing. When you win, right, that was a win. So these things, they don't typically bring this stuff up, right?
Right.
So I think somebody's got to bring it up at some point.
I was right there. I could see them talking to each other. It was, they almost collided. Like PCA cut behind him in the last second and literally hit Ian Happ. And then afterwards he was okay, but they talked about it. But come on, someone else besides those two have got to get this straight here. The Cubs, Dustin, have blasted 34 home runs this season, 3rd most in the majors behind the Yankees with 35 and the Dodgers with 36. Their 3.7% home run per plate appearance is the 7th highest in the league. I mean, the Cubs' 34 home runs through their first 23 games this season are the 3rd most in the Cubs' first 23 games since 1901. They did it in 1954, and they did it again in 2004. Let's hope it doesn't end like 2004. That was a disaster.
No.
Dustin, the Cubs are the only team in the National League to have 3 players in the top 10 for home runs. Can you name them?
Well, it's got to be King Tuck, right? It's got to be him. It's got to be the catcher, right? It's got to be the catcher, and it's got to be Seiya Suzuki.
Yep. They are tied for
ding, 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 ding,
6
ding.
most. They both have 6 apiece. But if you would have told me back then, that was going to happen, that would have been absolutely, to me, bizarre.
And Carson Kelly obviously is the craziest one of that group, right? I mean, nobody saw
the guy, I don't know if you heard this. They say he's watching film of Barry Bond.
Really?
He spent the offseason watching film of Barry Bonds. I didn't know that was that easy, that all you had to do is watch some film, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're the next Barry Bonds. But hey, so now the Cubs scored 6 runs in the second game after scoring 13 in the first. What do we got for game 3? Not
little rain delay. Almost 100 minutes of rain delays in this one.
Yeah, and they're just not wanting to call games. They're wanting to get them in, especially because this is going to be the last time.
Coast, right? Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so that was kind of, for me, that was frustrating to just kind of watch that. I mean, the game was supposed to start at 1:20, and then the first pitch wasn't thrown until close to 2:00. Bottom of the first, first 2 Cubs reach. Seiya struck out, and then the tarp came back out, and there was a 59-minute delay. So, I mean, you're talking.
Well, then I was worried about they wasted Tyone's start, right?
Right, and then
for a little bit, you're worried about that.
Play resumed. Cubs had runners at first and second, 1 out. Michael Busch tried to check his swing, didn't want to swing at the pitch. The ball hits his bat and lands in short left field. Ian Happ scores. The Cubs are up 1-0. Runners at first and second, 1 out. Let's get some more, but no. Kelly finds his groove. He sat down a career high 16 straight batters before he was pulled from the game with 2 outs in the 6th with leg cramps. He absolutely just dominated them. The Cubs did not have a base runner until the 7th inning when Michael Busch drew a leadoff walk and then stole second, but Swanson, Horner, and PCL struck out to strand Busch. Bottom of the 8th, 1 out. Birdie reaches on an infield single, advances on an error. So the Cubs have another man in scoring position, 1 out. Happ and Tucker up. They can't drive him in. So that was frustrating. But for the Cubs, Jamison Tyone pitched a solid game. He went 5 innings, gave up 1 run on 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 Ks. His only blemish was in the 4th, 1 out. Pavin Smith hit a ground rule double and scores on a Josh Naylor single to tie the game at 1. Both bullpens did not allow a run through the 9 innings, so free baseball. Top of the 10th, Jordan Wicks comes out to pitch, and Tim Tawa is the Manfred man at second. Jose Herrera hits a sac bunt to Wicks. So you know Wicks is coming in, Birdie's coming in, the first baseman Busch is coming in, and so Nico's job is to cover second base. He misses the throw, Dustin, and what was happening is the sun was setting, and there's like this gleam that comes through in between the upper and lower decks, and he lost the ball. And so Tawa scores. Herrera advances to second on that bunt. Still no outs, but Wick did a good job of getting out of that without giving up any more runs. And so now Cubs have a chance to answer. Old Shelby Miller's still around. He's pitching for Arizona. Swanson's the Manfred man. Nico makes up for the year by hitting a ball that deflected off the second baseman's glove. Dansby scores to tie it. Cubs have a runner at second, 1 out, but they couldn't walk it off. Top of the 11th, Gerardo Perdomo, the Manfred man. Wicks is still in. Josh Naylor singles to put the D-backs back up 3-2. Naylor was 3-5 with 2 RBIs. He was killing it that game. He's about the only one that could hit. Naylor would advance to third with 1 out. And get this, after Tim Tawa strikes out for the second out, did you see this play with Josh Naylor at third?
I did. Saw it live. Very confusing, right? Very, very confusing.
It was, but it wasn't. All 5'10", 235 pounds of him. He has 8 stolen bases in 7 seasons, right? He decides he's going to try to steal home. And you're saying, well, why would he do that?
Why? You have an answer? Please share.
Yeah, because he if you took a look at the third baseman, they were kind of playing in the middle between third and second base. He could walk all the way down there, right? And so what he said is, quote, when he talked about, they did get him out. He said, he just threw a perfect pitch. I'm going to take all the chances I can to change the game. I'm not afraid to fail. There are opportunities in the game when you have a lefty. He has his back facing you. I counted the seconds he was looking at first base, upwards of 5 in between each pitch. So after 2-3 pitches, I just try to time it. And again, if the throw's even a little bit high, right, I'm safe. And so here's the thing that happened. When he starts running, Wicks has to step off, otherwise it's a balk. So what he was trying to do is get in the heads of Wicks. So he has it timed. Nobody's near him at third. He's got it right down there. And if Wicks doesn't step off, the run scores because that would be a balk. And so Wicks can't see him behind it because he's a lefty. So it's really a pretty bright play. And he stepped off and threw the ball perfectly, and they tagged him. If that ball would not have been perfectly thrown the way Wicks did it, he would have been safe. And he could have been safe on the balk if Wicks would have panicked. You know what I mean?
Right. If he would have overreacted to it. Right. Good point.
Correct. So it was a really interesting play. When I first saw it, I was like, what the hell is he doing? And then when I read it, I was like, oh, okay, that makes some sense. Cubs had one more chance to tie at bottom 11th. Birdie's at second. He's the Manfred man, one of the fastest guys on the team, not named PCA. Happ hits a rocket, 98 miles per hour, right at the shortstop, who doubles up Birdie at second. Tucker lined out to center to end the game. We're going to let the skipper.
That double up was tough.
There's nothing anybody could do on that. I mean, it wasn't anybody's fault. It was hit hard, right up the middle, perfectly at the shortstop. He basically has to catch and step. That's it. Nothing you can do. Here's what Counsell had to say.
Yeah, it was just a quiet offensive day. I mean, we had 4 hits. We had a check swing hit and two off an infielder's glove. We didn't really create a lot of offense, and it was a tough day for offense as well. It was, neither team had 2 out hits in their book today, and it led to a extra inning game.
I mean,
that's baseball.
You're not going to do anything, Dustin, when you only have 4 hits. I mean, that's just not going to happen, right? And in total, they had a total of 6 base runners. They were 2 for 13 with runners in scoring position. They left 5 on base. You had an error from Horner, which I said, tough. I just thought that the bullpen, you had Merriweather, Roberts, Hodge, Presley, Wicks. I thought they all did a really good job. They just couldn't score offense. And so that's how you lose it. But honestly, I would have been absolutely thrilled if you would have told me 2 out of 3. I think both of us had the D-backs winning 1 out of those 3 games, but or the D-backs winning 2 out of those 3 games. But if we listen really quick here, I want your take on what Jameson Taillon had to say after the game.
Look at the schedule. It's like, coming up, we have Corbin Burns, Zach Gallen, and Merrill Kelly. Like, those are 3 really dang good MLB starting pitchers, and we come out of here still with a series win. We faced great arms, great lineups, and just I think we can play with anybody. So just a good reminder there.
So I got to ask you, Dustin.
Can play with anybody.
Not only play with anybody, but they're not scared, right? They're not scared of who's out there. You and I, when we looked at this April schedule, think of the pitchers that they faced so far. Think about what the talent level. I mean, I can't think of a harder stretch of games that I've seen with the quality pitching and watching these guys do what they do. It has just been really impressive as a team. And I would not have expected the Cubs. They're still sitting there rolling all of these guys over, rolling these teams over, taking series. I mean, they were close to almost taking that series at whatchamacallit against San Diego. I mean, if they would have won that last game in San Diego, which they easily could have, Dustin, you're talking about not losing a series since going to Tokyo in the middle of March.
Right.
This is
pretty impressive.
Yep. These are against some of the best teams. And if you take a look here now, this is getting a little crazy. Baseball Reference.
How about this? How about this?
Baseball Reference gives the Cubs the best percentage odds not to make the World Series, Dustin, to win it.
To win the World Series.
To win it. Now, I'm very impressed with the start, but you can't tell me that you think this team's going to win the World. I mean, that's a little much, right?
It's a little much. I don't think the starting pitching's there right now to win a World Series, but I think the team is good enough to get to the tournament, even as it is shaped right now. But the question is, can you stay that hot? Very hard to score those types of runs in October.
But they've been doing it against some of these good teams, right? And I got a feeling a lot of those playoff games are going to go through the West Coast or a dome stadium. That's my feeling. So I don't know. Other than playing at Wrigley, I don't know if weather's going to be that big of a deal. But I still think about that opportunity to get a stud. You see I don't know if you've been watching what Max Fried has been doing for the Yankees. He's absolutely just been crushing it. He nearly had a no-hitter this weekend. And I think he's won all 5 of his games he started. Like, can you imagine if you had Max Fried on this team right now? Totally changes everything. And so I enjoyed the weekend. I had a lot of fun. Love having Cub fans coming up saying hello. And I got to see another win, Dustin. So as long as we keep flying the W, I'm a happy camper.
That's all. It's all you can ask for, right? That is all you can ask for in these situations. Just a really great weekend and a lot of more interesting and good things to come over at Wrigley Field. There is no doubt about that, especially if Baseball Prospectus Crawly is right about this. You're listening to season 4. It's episode 23. The Cubs take the season series from the Snakes. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. Leave us one of those 5-star reviews. You can email us, crawlysclubhouse@gmail.com. That's right, crawlysclubhouse@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can also watch us on the Crawly's Clubhouse YouTube page. All right, so another series win. What does that mean for the standings?
The Brewers will not go away, Dustin, as much as we want them to. They are 12. The Cubs are 12-9, but the Brewers are 10-9. Now, remember, the Cubs played those 2 more games than the Brewers have with that
because
series.
Of the Japan games, right?
Yeah. Cincinnati 9-9. Their offense is starting to come around. They are a dangerous team. They got Hunter Green. Look out. St. Louis had a rough weekend. They're 9-9, and then Pittsburgh still in the basement at 7-12 on that.
Yeah, a little surprising the Pirates are doing as poorly as they are. There were chants, Crawly, of sell the team ringing out at the ballpark the other day.
So, Dustin, you got a couple young studs in the pitching staff. The fact that they didn't add any kind of – you've seen what Kyle Tucker does, just adding one power bat, what it can do to a lineup. The fact is they just didn't do enough, and that's –
yeah. Well, they never do enough. I'm just saying I thought they were built again, we'll see how they fare once they really get into the meat of divisional play.
Right.
But, I mean, Skeens is not unhittable anymore. All right, let's get into a little news, Crawly. PCA bobblehead day.
Oh, yeah. First bobblehead of the season. So, that's why I was there on Saturday. Dustin, take a look at this line to get the PCA bobblehead.
Jeez Louise.
So
are you going to show it? Or are you worried somebody might come try to knock you off or something? We get to see this guy.
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
And his helmet comes flying off. He's got a little helmet right here. There's a little PCA with his helmet, and it comes off. He's got the little speedster, his little smoke tracks coming out of there.
Yeah, but no blue star on the hair, huh?
No, that would have been cool, right? But I guess you got to remember they make these things before. While during spring training, so they probably already had this mold done.
Right. Did you see? We were talking about Paul Skeens a moment ago. Did you hear he's not a big fan. It's a bobblehead. He was very bleh about the whole thing.
Well, that bobblehead, they were over the bridge to try to get that thing. They literally had people lined up over the bridge into downtown to try to get the Paul Skeens bobblehead.
It's amazing.
That is on the secondary market. Those are going for $300, $400, $500.
Huh.
It's for a bobblehead. So
absolutely. I mean, they're cool and all, but I don't know. So what time now are things a little different for you? I don't know. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Crawly. That's what we do, right? On the Fly W podcast. When did you actually get in line for this thing?
I always go to Wrigley early. That's just me. I like to get breakfast. I like to walk around. And then once I start seeing lines start to form, then I jump in real quick.
Now, where did you eat? I always like to know that.
Sometimes
we'll have breakfast.
Sometimes we'll go to Do Right Donuts, right? Other times we'll head with Mickey D's. I took my son and his girlfriend to the game on Saturday. So I think we did some Mickey D's and we were just kind of hanging out for a little bit. And so,
nice.
I prefer to get there. I just don't like dealing with all the craziness. Like if you try to get there, obviously an hour before the game, it's just traffic's a mess. I'd rather just get there early and walk around.
Right. I agree wholeheartedly. All right. So we had a major collision last night in baseball.
Yeah. Luis Ariz from San Diego's in stable condition. He was taken to the hospital after colliding with Mauricio Dubon. Fernando Tatis Jr. led off the game with a walk against Astros left-hander Framber Valdez. Ariz laid down a sac bunt, and that was fielded on the right side of the infield by Astros first baseman Christian Walker. And Dubon was racing to first to get the throw, and he collided. And it looked like he hit Ariz in the chin and his elbow. But Dubon's a big guy. But Dustin, that was scary. It looked like he was out cold. And I don't know, when you see those plays, you don't see collisions as much anymore in baseball since they put in that the Buster Posey rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't see collisions as much, but that one, do you remember the Derek Lee and Rafael Furcal?
I do remember that.
And then there was also the Kerry Wood one where he collided with Hesop Choi.
Yes.
That's 2003. And I remember the ambulance had to come out of the field. He was knocked out. Our buddy Scott Nelson's on here, and I wonder if he was probably at the game. I probably wouldn't, but my guess is that to me just kind of brought that up. And the other guy that people don't forget about is Alexander Canario. Mm-hmm. Alexander Canario was killing it, and he got into one of those bad collisions in the Dominican Winter League and separated his shoulder and had a fracture like in his ankle. I don't think he was ever the same player after that injury. So when you talk about Luis Ariz, 3 times batting champion, I mean, we want the Cubs to win, but for baseball, Luis Ariz I love a guy like that, Dustin, that's not a power hitter that could just spray the ball all over the field. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. A good guy, as long as he's not playing you never wish injury upon anybody. That's for sure.
So I wanted to get your take on this. I was talking about Max Fried and how much I wish the Cubs would have signed him, right? He had what looked like a no-hitter going in the 7th inning against the Rays on Sunday. They're playing at that minor league park, right? Which makes it even more impressive. But as he headed out to the mound for the bottom of the 8th inning, his no-hitter was over. He didn't give up a hit, but between the half-inning break, the scorer, Bill Matthews, changed a 6th-inning error on Yankees first baseman Paul Goldschmidt to a hit for Rays center fielder Chandler Simpson. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
So basically, it was if you know this kid for the Rays, Chandler Simpson, he's one you're going to want to watch out for. This guy could be the next Ricky Henderson. I hate to put that on him. He is one of the fastest guys in baseball. And basically, there was a really close play, And at first they ruled it an error, but then later on they changed it. So he lost his no-hitter without giving up a hit in between the 7th innings, right? The 7th and 8th inning. And it reminded me of something. I wanted you to think about what it might have reminded me about it, of a score maybe changing the outcome of a no-hit game. Where's my mind going?
Milt Pappas?
No. Milt Pappas, that was Bruce Fleming, right? That bad call. I was thinking about the Kerry Wood game. And do you remember the third baseman who didn't make the play?
I'm trying to think. I don't.
Kevin Ory.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he was another one of the next great hopes of third base, right, for the Cubs.
Right. And so he is sitting there, and I'm looking, and to me, I remember Kevin Ory was begging the Cubs official scorer to change it to an error to make Kerry Wood, because that would have been a no-hitter then. That was the only hit that was given up. And it was one of those that could have gone either way. You'd figure a little hometown scoring. And this is a true story. My 7th grade PE teacher and my brother's wrestling coach was named Tom Bunjowski. He was the guy that brought the 20 Ks that day. He brought 16 of them, actually. He didn't have 20. He brought 16, which was a lot thinking about that. He thought Kerry Wood hit 16. They hit 20, and he had to find other scraps of paper to make other Ks from that day, if you remember that.
That's really cool.
They made an E5 sign, and they kept holding up the E5 sign. So the fans were begging the scorer to change that to an E5. But that's what I thought about when I read that story. I was like, man, Kevin Ory to this day says he wishes that the scorer would have taken the error any day of the week. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that, Max Fried said all the right things. Like, he didn't care about a no-hitter. He just wants, all he cares about is, helping the team win. And that's what you want. And like I said, I wish the Cubs would have gotten that guy, but it was an interesting thing to see a no-hitter changed.
Yeah.
Late into the game.
Yeah. Very cool. Good little tidbit there. All right. So moving along, let's keep it moving. We've got some roster moves and injury reports to share with the group.
Yeah, we talked about Luke Little walking the bases loaded against San Diego, and I was surprised they sent him down, and they called up lefty Jordan Wicks to take his place.
All right, now somebody's got to explain this to me. I'm confused. Confused. So it was reported that Jordan Wicks left Iowa, was scratched from his Iowa start to go out west to be with the Cubs. Then they didn't use him at all out west. Then Luke Little gets demoted. And then so why did he go west? Why didn't he? I'm just so confused about that whole thing. I thought he was already activated.
No, he was never activated.
But he was with the team.
Yes. And so that's the situation. A lot of times,
like an emergency type thing because of the distance.
Right. Because of the distance. We talked about in the last podcast. They're just going to use him. And God forbid, if a game went extra innings or something like that, and they needed a guy, they have a guy right there. You don't have to wait. You don't have to hope that his plane makes it. All of those things that could just potentially go wrong. You don't want that.
Interesting.
And I can tell you before, a lot of times what the Cubs will do is they'll bring guys and they're right before they call them, and they'll put them at the Hotel Zachary, and they don't send them immediately back to Iowa. A lot of times, sometimes they'll keep them there for the weekend, just to, all sorts of things. So yeah, no idea as far. I think just the decision was made to have somebody out there ready to go if they needed another starter. Because remember, that was the first time when they went that West Coast trip, was the first time without Justin Steele.
Right.
So if Ben Brown only goes 2 innings or something, you just don't know. And so it's just a better move to have him there. Now, Justin Steele had his surgery on Friday. He tweeted this out on his Twitter account, JSteele21. Appreciate the prayers and thoughts. God is good. Now, the Cubs described this as a revision repair on his left ulnar collateral ligament. So it's not Tommy John where you replace the ligament. So it is a repair. It is a different injury. Justin Steele, I want to say he had Tommy John in 2017. And so that was kind of the thing there. So just hoping and praying that he ends up.
Best case scenario, he's back this time next year. Best case scenario.
Best case scenario.
Best case scenario.
Yeah. And again, if you remember, that's what happened to Matt Boyd. Is, you know what I mean? You might come in and you may be able to pitch some innings, but you're not going to be going right away 60, 70, all that. It's a ramping up process. If he's to come, and be a part of this team next year, you're thinking probably later in the summer.
Okay.
At best.
It's just disappointing.
Yeah.
Just disappointing.
Tyson Miller worked a 1 1/3 shutout innings, 2 Ks April 19th. That's his second rehab outing for AAA. Tyson slated to go back-to-back games this week. So that's something to watch. And I don't know who they're going to send down, but a healthy Tyson Miller makes this bullpen that much better and would make me that much more confident. He was one of the best guys coming out of the pen.
Well, I feel like Jordan Wicks is really not an option out of the pen, right? Apparently he's got to be a starter. I just don't understand the concept, Crawly. I don't understand, here's the ball, go on the mound, get the person out. I don't understand why this is such a big deal to these guys.
Because of what they're used to, their preparations, how they go about it. But that's what he's done the whole time. That's what he's done the whole time.
Else. I mean, you prep. You're a teacher, Crawly, right?
Right.
You teach. Okay, this isn't a secret. I'm not like breaking state secrets here.
Right.
You have a plan, right? You have a plan for tomorrow in your class, right? But something might happen, right? Something could come up. Is it going to be mass blanking chaos? Are you not going to be able to get the job done because one little fly in the ointment changed the day? It's ridiculous. I work in live radio. Do you know how much stuff we plan and about how much stuff that we plan we actually do because of live radio?
Right. So when you compare the things, though, it is a little bit different. Now, if you told me, if I walked into class tomorrow and said, hey, you're going to be a French teacher, I would say, oh, crap. Sometimes you can do things on the fly.
It's a little extreme. It's a little
but you can make alterations. But when you're somebody that prepares every fifth day and you kind of have a routine and you're not used to being thrown into the fire like that, like, okay, now you're coming in and now you got two guys on base. There's some guys that can handle it.
The whole clean inning, right? They need a clean inning. They can't.
Some guys can
handle it. They can't work out of the stretch right away. I mean, oh my gosh, it's painful, Crawly. Absolutely painful.
Some guys can do it, some guys can't, and it's
well, right now Jordan Wicks is in that can't group, Crawly. He can't do it.
He went 2 innings the other day and he looked okay. I mean, he didn't look
okay, and then he didn't look great yesterday.
Well, what didn't you like about yesterday? I mean, it's a guy that was hot hit him. That's what happened. There was an error that was made. That error was made. That was not on him. That's on Nico.
That's an error, right?
Okay. And then the other guy, Josh,
a little bit better of a throw, but it was on Nico at the end of the day.
Josh Naylor was 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs. So it's not like you gave it up to nobody. It was the guy who had the most hits on that day.
So you think he'll stay up and be in the bullpen moving forward, or do you think he ends up in the rotation? Or you're going to stick to Colin Ray until something goes wrong?
I think you stick with Colin Ray till something goes wrong. I would see something more like a piggybacking situation as opposed to a straight up reliever. So if you tell me, what if you did Colin Ray for 3 or 4 innings and then you did Jordan Wicks for 3 innings? Like, I think those piggyback options can do a lot to help you. And that way you don't see guys a third time through, which would help a young guy like Jordan Wicks. I think there's things you can do. And so I'm not exactly, I think that Jordan Wicks could still be in the pen. It's just, what's the best usage for him? If you're telling me you have to get 1 or 2 lefties out, then I'd rather have Luke Little than Jordan Wicks. If you tell me I need a guy that needs to go 3 innings to follow up after a starter's done, I'd rather it be Jordan Wicks and Luke Little. It all just depends on the situation. But, we'll see if the Cubs want to still keep the 2 lefties going when Tyson Miller's healthy, or if maybe someone else, Ethan Roberts or somebody, would be the next one down. I don't know.
You are listening to the Fly the W podcast. Don't forget to listen, download, review, and subscribe. Feel free to leave a 5-star review. You can email us at crawlyclubhouse@gmail.com. crawlyclubhouse@gmail.com. And you can watch us on Crawly's Clubhouse YouTube page. All right, big 2-game series here in town. Last time the Cubs and Dodgers are going to play, at least in the regular season, Crawly.
How nice is that, right? That's just amazing. The Dodgers are in second place in the NL West with the record of 16-7, half a game behind the Padres. Remember that the Dodgers had lost 2 straight series in the beginning of April when Freddie Freeman was on the IL, and then they lost a 3rd straight series to the Cubs in LA with Freeman back. Since then, they swept the Rockies, and they just took 2 of 3 from the Rangers, and they didn't have Shohei Ohtani for 2 of those games because he's on paternity leave. But this is the last time, like you said, that the Cubs play the Dodgers in the regular series. The Dodgers swept the Cubs in Tokyo, and the Cubs returned the favor. They took 2 of 3 in Los Angeles. They dropped game 1 on a 3-run homer by that weasel Tommy Edman. That was the difference there. The Cubs won a record-breaking 16-0 win in the middle game of the series, and then PCA hit 2 homers and Michael Busch hit 1 as the Cubs took the finale 4-2. As it stands, Dustin, the Dodgers currently have a 3-2 lead. So if the Cubs sweep this 2-game set, they take the season series.
I love it.
You got
There's a possibility, and that could be huge. That
right.
could be huge.
We've seen it the last
difference. Make a world of difference.
We've seen it the last couple of years where those tiebreaker situations come into play when you get to those different spots, right?
Big time. Big time. Tail of the tape.
Righty, batting average. Cubs have the advantage. They're 6th in baseball with the 258 average. Dodgers 20th with 227.
That's surprising, right? That's very surprising.
Yep, but remember last time we played them, what we said, the Dodgers get their runs by slugging, but the Cubs have a better slug. That's going to help when you play games where you score 13, 14 runs. The Cubs are 2nd in baseball in slug with a 447 slug. Dodgers are 7th with 415. With runners in scoring position, they're pretty even. The Cubs have the nod, 274. They're 6th in baseball. Dodgers 256. They're 9th. Starting pitcher ERA goes to the Cubs. They're 346. They're 6th. They're getting better and better. The Dodgers 355, 8th. Now it's again the bullpen, and we talk about the reliever whip, and we saw what happened. The Cubs starters didn't give up a lot of runs during against in this last series against the Diamondbacks. And most of them came out of the bullpen. Ray did good. Ben Brown didn't give up a lot of runs, and then in the finale, Tyone didn't give up a lot of runs. So right now, the Cubs are 29th in baseball with reliever whip, while the Dodgers are 12th with 116. So the bullpens at the Cubs against the Dodgers are not as good as they've been facing, but they're still in the top half. So you got to be careful there. When we talk about defensive run saves, the Cubs are 16th in baseball with 4. We saw some more errors this last series. It's got to get cleaned up. While the Dodgers have 6 defensive run save, which is good for 10th in all of baseball.
All right. Now this is just a 2-game series, and we are fortunate. Shota Imanaga is going to be throwing on Tuesday night. Are you going tomorrow night, Crawly?
I will be there tomorrow night.
All right.
And so Shota's 2-1 this season with a 2.22 ERA and 5 games started with 21 strikeouts and 28 1/3 innings pitch. Shota has looked shaky in his last couple of starts. Against the Rangers on April 9th, he gave up 5 runs in 5 innings, 7 hits, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. He did better in his next start in San Diego. He gave up 1 run in 5 innings on 4 hits, but he walked 3 and struck out 7. So when you do that, a lot of walks, a lot of strikeouts, that pitch count's going to get elevated, right?
Very quickly.
Shota's made 1 start against the Dodgers. That was on opening day in Tokyo. He pitched 4 scoreless innings and gave up no hits, but he walked 4 and struck out 2. Shota's 1-0 lifetime against LA and 3 starts with a 1.80 ERA. None of the Dodgers have more than 6 at-bats against Shota, and no one has more than 1 hit except that weasel Tommy Edman, who is 2 for 5 against Imanaga. Now, they're going to be going up against Dustin May, who will be on the mound. He kind of looks like Carrot Top. May's had an injury-plagued career. Dustin, after breaking through in 2020, he's had a series of injuries that's limited him to 20 starts in the last 4 seasons. He had Tommy John in May of 2021, which wiped out 2021 and most of 2022. In 2023, he had a forearm injury and a flexor tendon surgery. Then get this, Dustin. This is going to be in the Hall of Fame of weird injuries. In July of 2024, he had a piece of salad get lodged in his throat, and he had an esophageal tear in July that ended his 2024 season. But this year, May is 1-1 with a minuscule 1.06 ERA in 3 games started, 14 strikeouts and 17 innings pitched. Dustin, I've heard May's name as in possible trade talks with the Cubs. I'm just telling you that I've heard it. He's a guy that when he's healthy can really do some damage. And when the Dodgers start to get some of their guys back, Tony Gosselin, Clayton Kershaw, those kind of guys, maybe be a guy that might be available, something to just kind of watch. In his first start of the season, May gave up 1 run in 5 innings against the Braves. He gave up 3 runs in 6 innings against the Nationals. and then gave up 1 run on 6 innings in his last start against the Rockies. May's only faced the Cubs once. He got the win. He has a 3.38 ERA against the Cubs, but most of the Cubs on this team don't have more than 3 at-bats against May, except John Birdie, who is 3 for 6 with 2 walks. May is primarily a 3-pitch pitcher using his sinker, sweeper, and 4-seam fastball on that one. Dustin, just so you know, on game 2, we're still TBD. I don't know if you've seen anything.
I have not seen anything. No, I've been looking around as we've been doing this, and I've not seen anything yet.
Yeah, I've been looking as well, and it really, it's just one of those things that their pitching situation's kind of a mess. Luckily, the Cubs is not. Matt Boyd is 1-2 with the 2.01 ERA in 4 games started with 20 strikeouts, 22 in the 3rd innings. This month, Matt has faced the Padres twice and the Dodgers once in LA. So his last 4 starts are going to be, once he pitches on Wednesday, is going to be Padres and Dodgers. On April 5th against San Diego, he pitched 6 scoreless innings. And in his last start against the Friars, he gave up 2 runs and 5 in the 3rd inning. Against the Dodgers on April 11th, which was in between those 2 San Diego starts, Boyd pitched really well. It was a scoreless game until the 6th inning when that weasel Tommy Edman hit it. Those were the only runs he gave up in the game. Matt's 1-1 lifetime against the Dodgers with a 3.38 ERA and 2 starts and 1 appearance out of the bullpen. The Dodgers do not hit Boyd well. The best is Miguel Rojas is 2 for 6, but the rest of the team struggles. Freddie Freeman is 1 for 8. Teoscar Hernandez 2 for 14. And Shodi Managa is 2 for 12. I told you Tommy Edmonds 1 for 8, but that one was that stupid 3-run home run.
Yes.
That guy.
Are you ready for a little hot or not, buddy?
Well, just so you know, Dustin, I did kind of do some inquiry, and they are saying from my buddy, Blake Harris, he runs a podcast for the Dodgers. He's saying it's going to be a bullpen game, and most likely Ben Kasparius is going to start that bullpen game. He's a 26-year-old righty. He hasn't started any games yet. He's 2-0 with a 4.11 ERA in 9 games. He has 14 strikeouts and 15 in a 3rd inning. So what I'm hearing is most likely he is going to be the one that is going to start the game. Now get this. He was the guy on 4-12 against when the Cubs scored all those runs. He only pitched an inning and 2/3 and gave up 6 earned runs on 7 hits. So I don't know how much they're going to want him starting against the Cubs, but we'll see. But that's just a guess right now. This is still TBD.
TBD. All right. Very good. Good info, Crawly. Good info for everybody watching and listening and hearing this a little bit later from now. Okay. Now how about hot and not?
Yes. Hot. How about Ian Happ? 9 for his last 25 with a double, 4 RBIs. He's slashing 364, 29, 520. Who else is hot? How about this guy right here? Mr. PCA. He is 8 for his last 23 with 4 doubles, a home run, and 3 RBIs. He's slashing 348, 375, 652. On the not, Seiya Suzuki still hasn't really kind of gotten his stroke back since he had that wrist injury. He's 3 for 17. He does have 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. So the average looks bad. He's 176 OBP, but his slug is 529. And Dansby Swanson, I want to say this is for the 3rd or 4th week in a row, is at the bottom. He's 4 for his last 27 with a double, 14 strikeouts, no walks. He's slashing 148, 185, Dustin. That's just unbelievable.
It's pretty good.
Pretty bad. Pretty impressive.
Well, you know what I meant.
Yes.
I meant it to be the other way.
And if we're taking a look at the Dodgers, Freddie Freeman, he's back and he is warmed up. He's 7 for his last 20. He's
warming up. He's looking like Freddie again.
Got 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He's slashing 350, 462, 750. Another guy to look out for, Will Smith, 5 for his last 15 with a home run and 6 RBIs, slashing 333, 333, 523. He's catcher there. And then when you talk about cold, they got a couple guys, Dustin. This is why they were struggling against the Rockies as far as offensively. Mookie Betts is hitting 136 for the last week. Teoscar Hernandez 125, and their left fielder Michael Conforto's 111. So they got 3 guys that are everyday players that are hitting in the 100s right now. And if you take a look at their center fielder, Andy Pages, he's at 188. So you got 4 everyday starters hitting in the 100 over the last week.
Oh man. Let's go back if we can for a moment to Dansby Swanson, Crawly.
Yes.
I want to know what, the reason our Cubs, Crawly, are in the position they are right now is because the bottom third of the order is delivering, like I don't think anybody would have predicted. The catching position over delivering. People wanted PCA benched or sent back to Iowa. The kid has bounced back. But Dansby started out okay and has gone downhill since, but he's batting 5th or 6th most days. Would you consider moving him maybe to 8th and moving everybody up a spot? Or do you want to leave everybody at the bottom alone because they're kind of in a little bit of a rhythm in that spot? I don't want to be a hypocrite. It shouldn't matter. Bat where you bat and hit the ball, right? But I get it. People get into grooves. And especially in this sport, above all other sports, there seems to be all this damn, oh my gosh, don't change anything, all the superstition and whatnot, right? I mean, guys will wear dirty socks if they're hitting well in them.
Well, that's me, Dustin. I'm one of those guys, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I get it. I understand it. I really just, I don't know. I like that when you get into that point where it goes Nico to PCA to Kelly or Amaya, I just love it when it gets to that point in the order. So right now I'm actually okay with it. Maybe if you need, if things start going the wrong direction, it's something you have to consider because there's cold and there's ice cold. And when we're talking about like 3 or 4 weeks in a row that Dansby Swanson has been the worst everyday hitter on your team, that's an issue, Dustin. And like I said, 14 strikeouts. So he's not even making contact.
No. Mm-mm. Well, I just don't know what happens. And he's the type of guy who doesn't want to take a day off. And that's the other issue, right? That's the other thing. He does not want to take a day off.
He's always been a streaky guy. And so the hots are hots, the colds are ice colds. And right now you can't get much colder. And hopefully he comes out of it. And that's what I think everybody's kind of doing. When you got a guy that's a leader like Dansby and a guy that, let's be honest, Dustin, he's getting paid a decent sum of money. That we have breaking news, Dustin.
Breaking news. Maybe it's the same. I was just about to say that. Kenny Rosenthal, right?
Steve, yep. Okay. Our guy Steve Scher says the Cubs are acquiring left-hander Drew Pomeranz from the Mariners per Ken Rosenthal. Mm-hmm. So we do have some breaking news going on here. That is absolutely impressive here.
Now, Pomeranz was with Council in Milwaukee in 2019. He's 36. He's been at AAA, 14 Ks, 6 walks, a 4.66 ERA in 9 2/3 innings of work so far.
Do we have a corresponding move?
I have not seen that because I don't think it's official yet. But it could be Wicks, right? It could be Wicks. Go back if we need you. We'll stay a starter, and if we need you, we'll come get you.
And again, there's no saying that Pomeranz is going to have to come out right now, but another lefty.
Well, the other thing, what you're hoping isn't going on is that somebody came out of a game bad on Saturday or Sunday, and this is why they're making this move.
Okay. So this to
me
is
not right. You hope not.
Right. So this is interesting right now. So we got it here.
It's also a lefty, correct? He's a lefty.
He's a lefty. Right.
So, okay. Now Theobar looked okay in the last couple of games, right? So hopefully nothing happened to him, but I think you would probably like to have more than one effective lefty in your bullpen.
I wonder if Pomeranz is going to come out, like you said, and when Jordan Wicks goes down. I think honestly that would be the move.
That makes the most sense. If he can't come out of the bullpen, and that's what they need, then you put him back down and you let him, keep doing the reps at the starting thing. And if you need him, something goes bad with Colin Ray or something like that, and you got to call him back up. That's your guy. And obviously there's still Assad is still working his way back, but he did have a little bit of a setback and got pushed day back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this gets interesting here. And so by the time we meet next time after the Dodgers series, we'll have corresponding moves, but I do want to thank everybody that's chipped in the comments. No pun intended. Chip Palacio, Scotty Nelson, Steve Scher giving us the breaking news, keeping us up to date. So this is exciting, and thanks guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
All right. Before we wrap up, Crawly, how about a prediction?
I think the Cubs are going to take both games. I think they're going to stun the Dodgers. They're going to take the series. I don't know why I got a hunch, but I think that obviously Shota, I think I'm really curious to see how May does. And if Theo is really watching from his suite up behind home plate, because like I said, that might be a guy that the Cubs may give up something good. I don't think they gave up probably something super great for Drew Pomeranz, but I could see them giving up something good to get Dustin May. So I think game 1 is going to be must-see TV. And then game 2, I'm just hoping
earlier start tomorrow, right? It's like a 6:30 start.
Yeah. They always do those. We're going to keep doing those night games where they're going to be usually at
until school lets out. Okay.
Yeah. So they do those 6:40 starts until school lets out, and then they'll go back to 7:20, and then in September they go back to 6:40.
Gotcha. A little back and forth with the kids. I'm going to say split. I'm going to try to remain somewhat realistic, but I'm hoping you're right, Crawly, and I'm hoping I'm wrong. You got them winning both. I've got them splitting. We'll see what happens. That's a wrap. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. If you have any questions you want answered, email us at crawleysclubhouse@gmail.com. Crawleys with an S, clubhouse@gmail.com. And you can watch us by subscribing to Crawley's Clubhouse YouTube channel.
Yep, and be looking out. I'll be there. Come say hi. This was from the Chicago Tribune. There's a close-up. There's Crawly flying the W right here. So I'm hoping to do it a little bit more this weekend. Go Cubs!
It's all over.